There are no health care centers free for the people in Somalia. Poverty, malnutrition.
If the British government sent us to Somaliland, we will meet a lot of problems economically, politically, and socially.
In Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, a wave of forced evictions has left hundreds of families homeless.
Somalia is in the grip of another drought. Families with nothing left at home.
There are no health care centers free for the people in Somalia. Poverty, malnutrition. Somalia has one of the highest maternity deaths in the world. Why are we not fighting for the woman dying in the childbirth? Why are we not thinking about our young men and women fleeing to other countries and dying in the ocean? Why are we not talking about injustice in Somalia? Because all of this, there is no funding. There is funding in talking about circumcision, and there is money also talking about the age issue because of NGOs. So let's be honest and be real about these issues.
This is the failed generation of Somalia, the generation that has been leading Somali politics for the last 30 years. So what have we gotten from this? Let's look at the numbers. Around 70% of Somalis live in extreme poverty. Africa's average is roughly 40%. Over 4.6 million Somalis face acute food insecurity. Somalia is consistently in the top 5 worst hunger crises in the world. 1.8 million children are acutely malnourished. Over 400,000 are severely malnourished. Adult literacy in Somalia is about 41%, one of the lowest literacy rates in the world. Africa's average is close to 70%. The global average is 84%. Over 60% of Somali youth are unemployed. And nearly 70% of the population is under 25. Somalia's life expectancy is 57 years. The global average is 73 years. 1 in 10 children die before the age of 5. That's around 100 deaths per 1,000 births. Globally, that number is about 37. Somalia has more than 3 million internally displaced people. And every single week, hundreds of young Somalis die in the Mediterranean Sea, trying to escape this system for a better life. And yet, we welcome these leaders as heroes. We clap for them. We defend them, even though their results are the worst in the world. So in the end, we can only blame ourselves. Because for them, the system works.
People have come from all across southern Somalia to be here in Dolo, and I've just met Ibo. She was telling me that her and her family walked for several days to come here, and unfortunately Ibo told me that because of the drought and because of the hunger situation in Somalia, she lost her 2 younger sisters. Ibo still has 8 other siblings who need feeding. Right now they're having lunch, and this is their first and only meal today. They've been able to register for cash and food vouchers thanks to World Vision and the World Food Programme. It's support like this that is just so critical so that families are able to get through this terrible, terrible crisis.
3 countries, Somalia, Ethiopia, Kenya, they represent 2% of the global population, and they represent 70% of extreme food insecurity. 12% of people in need worldwide, 12% of the world's malnourished children live in those 3 countries. And the worst effects are in Somalia. We believe that the current famine could be twice as bad as the 2011 famine, which killed 260,000 people. Our teams on the ground report that people have already started dying from starvation and from the associated diseases, the vulnerabilities that go with it. And hunger is worsening week by week. Since April, the number of people facing famine conditions in Somalia has risen 160%.
Somalia is a wretched place in every sense of the word. Every part of Somalia is horrible. Even the freaking weather is horrible. It's a corrupt place. Corruption is in the bones there. Well, of course, we've brought tens of thousands of people from Somalia into the United States of America. And, of course, we allow them all to live right where they want to live. And, of course, they moved all into Minnesota, Minneapolis to be specific, in that area, and they've set up shop there. Now, well, there's a story out. I'm sure you've probably seen it or heard about it. This is from Not the Bee. Minnesota Somalis are fraudulently diagnosing their kids with autism to funnel Medicaid money to terrorists. I'm not going to break down the nerdy details of the story. I'll just say you get extra money if you have a child with autism. So a bunch of Somalis got together and figured out how to game the system. They declared that they had a bunch more kids with autism than they actually had, getting tens of millions, hundreds of millions of taxpayer money. The money then gets funneled directly back to terrorist networks in Somalia. This is what happens when you pluck somebody from a corrupt culture where everything is for sale and you allow 50,000 of them to just plop down in a neighborhood. They're going to do what they've always done. That's just how government works. That's how it's always worked for them. That's how they grew up.
He said that we require a visa to get in to our own country, Somalia.
This is embarrassing, right? Most countries, they welcome their diasporas. Somalia says, yeah, pay up first. What? Somalia has gone so low, right? To the point crushing national identity and belonging in exchange for a fee. What is this? Who's gonna tell them that it is the diasporas who are sending billions back home, supporting the everyday people, right? Rebuilding the houses, paying the school fees, supporting the economy. Sheesh. We have no leadership. This is embarrassing. Instead of making it easier to visit, invest, and bring back skills, Somalia just told everyone, yeah, you're Somali when we need your money. Crushing every ounce of belonging and national identity, bruh. Somali government, trash. Trash.
Imagine growing up in America your entire life, then one day you're put on a plane to a country you barely remember. No friends, no support system, no clear future. For many Somali deportees, this isn't hypothetical. It is their reality. So today we are exploring what actually happens after deportation, the challenges, the reality, the identity struggles, unexpected outcomes for Somalis sent back from the United States. This isn't about policy. This is about people rebuilding their lives from zero.
Ahmed Courier may well become one of them. He's been in London for 6 years, and now the government wants to start deporting people back to his homeland of Somaliland, even though it does not recognise the government there. But if Denmark can do it, then so can Britain. And so Ahmed may mark the beginnings of a common policy.
If the British government send us to Somaliland, we will meet a lot of problems economically, politically and socially.
والله وانا لو كنت عاديه سبحنا نولا غلاي شرعي دولده dhaga adeegsaday
dhibaataan haysata dhulkii aan ku galayna waa ka barakacnay oo dawladda qaadata la yiri kii aan deganayna waa ka barakacnay ilmahan hal dhaawacay hal jiisay hal jiida ku maqan waaye dhibaatadaas aan haysataan dawladda
daawo ma haystaan biyo ma haystaan baad ma haystaan xalku waa xal masaakiin aan nahay hoygayni dad laga oo naga lacag badan gadanayo
The more religious, the less educated, and the poorer, the higher the birth rate.
Yeah.
Low on the religion, high on education, and high on income, that has the lowest birth rate by far.
Yeah.
What? More faith, more poverty, more babies? Is Somalia an example of this? Yeah, Somalia is one of the most religious country, 99% Muslim. Literacy rate, low. Poverty, up there, right? And birth rate, yeah, 6 kids per woman. The highest in the world, by the way. What? Yeah, it's not just Somalia. Take a look at Nigeria, Afghanistan, Yemen. Yeah, more religious, less educated, more poverty. Sheesh. And the birth rate, up there, leading the world. What? Yeah, compare that to Japan, Germany, right? Where they're secular, wealthy, educated. And birth rate, sheesh, barely 1 kid per woman. What? The reality is money and education, yeah, it changes things, right? The Somalis in the diasporas like London and Minnesota, yeah, they got money and education. They're having less kids. What? Yeah, religion plus poverty grows family. What? Yeah, education and income shrinks them. Yeah, I don't like this formula. Let me have both and eat my cake too. I don't like this formula. Someone change this formula, please. Change this formula, because I want to have both.
In Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, a wave of forced evictions has left hundreds of families homeless. Houses are being razed, often without warning, according to residents who claim they weren't given a chance to contest the government-led demolitions. Mandeg Mohammed is now sheltering in an IDP camp on the outskirts of the city.
We were ordered to pay $15,000 or $20,000 so that the land is legalized for us, but could not afford it. So evacuation was inevitable. The bulldozer came while we were in the house. We just left.
In the same camp, Kalfan Mohammed said officials had told them the land belonged to the government. She says they had to run away when the bulldozers began demolishing their home and that their belongings were left behind. The government says it is legitimately reclaiming public land for development, but in Dainal, one of the affected districts, some residents displayed ownership documents they say were issued by previous administrations. Analyst Omar Ibrahim said many of the disputed plots have long-standing ownership records. Each piece of land has a known owner. If the government needs it for public use, it must relocate people fairly, he said. The demolitions have sparked protests, with residents burning tyres and demanding accountability. But critics argue these evictions reflect deeper societal issues around corruption and poor urban planning.
Children are the most vulnerable in a famine, so they're the first to die usually. We know from the UN that 488 children have died in care facilities so far this year, and that's not including the ones that didn't make it to those facilities. The real death toll is much higher and could go much, much higher if relief doesn't come soon. This village of about 100 farmers, after the rains failed, their crops failed, then the livestock died. They didn't have any milk for the infants. Condensed milk at the store got to be too expensive, and then several of their children died. So they decided to get up, move, come to this IDP camp in hopes of finding food. The ones that were too weak to make the journey had to be left behind.
Most deportees arrive in cities like Mogadishu, but here is the reality. For many, this isn't about going back. Some left Somalia as children and others were born abroad. They land in a place where the language feels unfamiliar, the culture is different, and daily life operates ways they have never experienced. It's not just relocation, it is cultural shock overnight. The hard part here is survival. Finding work isn't easy, jobs are limited, and competition is high. Without local connections, many deportees turn to small street businesses, informal work, or even support from aid organizations. So these are groups like the NGOs sometimes offer short-term help, but long-term stability, that's on the individual. And starting from scratch is never that simple. But the biggest struggle isn't always financial, it is psychological. Many deportees feel caught between two worlds, not fully accepted as locals, no longer part of the life they knew in America. This identity gap can lead to isolation, stigma, and a deep sense of displacement. So imagine being told where you belong, but not feeling like you belong anywhere. So despite the challenges, some do find a way to move forward. They adapt, they learn, they rebuild. Some use their English skills to work with NGOs or even businesses. Others start small companies and grow from there. It is not easy, but resilience play a huge role in shaping new opportunities. And deportation is often discussed in terms of law and policy, but behind every case is a human story, someone navigating loss, change, and uncertainty. Understanding these experiences doesn't mean taking sides. It means seeing the full picture. What do you guys think? Should more support be provided for people rebuilding their lives after deportation? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and kindly remember to keep it respectful. And if you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more real-world stories. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.